Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.
Good evening and welcome to the Blacks in Technology Big Tech Talk podcast, the show where we talk to and spotlight Black engineers, innovators, educators, inventors, and entrepreneurs doing amazing things in the world of technology. This podcast is where they share with our audience their experiences, their ideas, their knowledge, and their perspective on tech. I'm your host, Greg Greenlee, and if this is your first time listening to the Big Tech Talk podcast, you can check us out at www.blacksintechnology.net. Check out all of our podcasts there. This is episode number 83. So there's 82 more podcasts that you have to catch up on. So check out blacksintechnology.net, click on the podcast link, and you'll be able to listen to all of them there. And our Twitter handle, if you want to check us out on Twitter, you want to follow us, we're at Black in Technology. That's BLKINTECHNOLLOGY. We're also on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Blacks in Technology. We also have a growing LinkedIn group. We're almost close to 2,300 members there. It's linked. So check out Blacks in Technology on our LinkedIn as well. It's just under Blacks in Technology. You can do a search and you'll find us. And if you are on Twitter right now, you have any questions for our guests, tweet them using the hashtag BitTechTalk. That's BITTECHTALK. Blacks in Technology is a tech-focused community and media organization focused on increasing diversity in technology. We also focus on forming new partnerships and opportunities to assist our members with their continued professional growth and development. So if you want to partner with us, send us an email to partnerships@blacksintechnology.net. Any general inquiries, send an email to info@blacksintechnology.net. And if you want to sponsor one of these, one of our fabulous podcasts and get your brand or your product or whatever you're doing in front of a wide audience, shoot us an email to sponsorship@blacksintechnology.net. We don't have much in the way of announcements. I did attend DevOps Days Ohio yesterday's session. It was great. I was disappointed that, we work with this organization called DevOps Days, and we try to provide some resources to our community so people can be more informed about what's going on in technology, especially when it comes to DevOps. So I tried to, I did partner with them and tried to get some members to attend the event in Columbus, Ohio. Unfortunately, no one took us up on this offer. Now, we do this, like I said, so we can help provide resources for you all. This is not something that, you all would benefit from. Just let me know. Just send us an email. Just say, hey, yeah, the conferences are cool, but, we really don't want to go to these conferences. Maybe you can find some conferences that are along these lines and partner up with these people. So it's all about the community. So if these aren't the type of conferences that you want to attend, let me know. Send us an email. Contact us at blacksintechnology.net. Tech 808 was actually a couple of weeks ago or was that last week? I think it was a couple of weeks ago, November 9th. In New York, we did send some members to that. So it seems like the trend is more of the entrepreneurial type of conferences seems more appealing. I will continue to push, the tech conferences until, the community lets me know otherwise. But we'll keep pushing. What else is going on? Check out the jobs board. Go to blacksintechnology.net, click on jobs. Link, and you'll be able to see the latest jobs that we have up. Also, if you don't know, we do have a Slack channel, and we do have close to 260 members in our Slack channel, and there's some interesting conversations that go on. There's a lot of information flying around. There's even some debates, social debates, as well as technology debates that go on as well. It's a real vibrant Slack group, so check us out. Just go to blacksintechnology.net if you want to. It's an invite only, so we have to invite you, but it's an automated process. So if you go and to blacksintechnology.net and do a search for Slack, it'll pull up the invite form. Just fill out the invite form, and you'll automatically get an email within 5 minutes saying you've been invited. So check us out there on Slack. So tonight, we're going to get to our guest right now, Rod Robinson. Rod is the founder and CEO of ConnXus, which is a cloud-based supplier relationship management platform that streamlines the management of corporate supplier diversity programs. His expertise is in procurement. It comes from nearly 20 years of experience as a chief procurement officer for a major telecommunications company and as a management consultant with firms such as A.T. Kearney, Accenture, and Diamond Advisory Services. He has also worked for Price Waterhouse and Deloitte, where he earned his CPA credentials. And I do want to say I met Rod. There is a Black Founders group that is headed up by Candace Peters, here in Cincinnati, and so the premise behind this is to get entrepreneurial people of color or entrepreneurs in tech, engineers all together. Let's talk about what we have going on. Let's see how we can help each other. Let's build something here in Cincinnati, and that's what we've been doing. So we've been getting together, once every couple of months or something maybe once a month. I don't know. I've been to, I think, 2 of these meetups so far. But we've been getting together and just, having a good time, enjoying each other's company, sharing stories with each other and things like that. And that's why I met Rod at the last meetup. So I want to bring on Rod. Thank you for joining us tonight, Rod.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. We're definitely glad to have you. I'm kind of on a roll with with bringing people that are located here in Cincinnati. For the longest, we did a lot of podcasts. I actually didn't, and this is ignorance on my part, I actually didn't realize how vibrant the entrepreneurial scene was here in Cincinnati, especially when it comes to people of color. So I kind of really overlooked everything. And then once Candace actually introduced me to a number of people, that's when I said, hey, I got to start getting people on here that are here, located here in Cincinnati. So that's what I've been doing. I had Bjorn on from Wiser. I definitely want to get Candace on pretty soon. And there's a couple other people that I want to get the guys on from Mortar. And there was a couple of other people, I can't remember their names offhand, that I want to get on this show too. But I'm glad to have you on. So our first question, I'm going to just jump right into the Q&A and give us a little insight into your background in education.
Yeah. So I started my career, as you mentioned, in public accounting. I spent time with Price Waterhouse Coopers. I also worked with Deloitte, where I spent 4 years. That's where I earned my CPA credentials. And after 4 years at Deloitte, I was accepted into the Wharton MBA program. And then after business school, I went into management consulting, doing stints with large global consulting firms, including A.T. Kearney, Accenture, where I specialized in supply chain and procurement. And from there, I ended up, my career path led me to work for a client. So I received an offer from, happened to be working on a project in Cincinnati and working for the CFO there. And they said, hey, we need somebody to run procurement. You helped us centralize it. And now we need somebody to actually to drive the change that we need to centralize and sustain the benefits that you all have identified for us. So that was a great opportunity for me to move from the consulting side, where it was more, doing a lot of analysis, kind of parachuting into these organizations, driving costs and benefits, but then leaving it behind for someone else to sustain. So it was a great opportunity for me to move on the operating side and to understand what it was like to lead people and motivate people on a day-to-day basis to drive change, on a daily basis.
Excellent. And just to give our audience a little bit more insight as to what procurement is, can you tell us what that define procurement for us?
So procurement is probably the most critical area within an organization. I mean, if you think about you can only sell. Companies buy and sell. You have to buy goods and services to either make them and sell them, or to simply sell them, and you want to sell them at a profit. So oftentimes, most organizations, procurement, external purchases from vendors typically represents about a third of revenue in most organizations. So when you think about the ability to, if a company can save, if they can save $1 and they're selling something, if they're generating $1 in revenue, and and they can reduce their costs by 25 cents, typically that purchased external purchased good, that's money that drops down directly to the bottom line. So it's critical. I mean, it's really the purchasing of goods and services, and it's a key component of a company's supply chain. So we're buying, for example, at Cincinnati Bell, we were buying everything from DSL modems to fiber, to wire and cable. We were buying IT services, hardware, software, you name it. I mean, we were sourcing, over, 200 categories of goods and services. And that's probably pretty consistent with most telecoms for sure. But when you get into, your packaged goods, consumer packaged goods, those numbers, could increase significantly.
So are you helping companies to, in a more basic way, find like the best prices? Is that what it kind of boils down to, or is there more to it than that?
The goal of the procurement organization at most organizations is not just to find goods at the lowest price possible, but it's really all about optimizing the value. So it's really you have to take a strategic approach. I mean, there's some more commodity focused goods that the best price is the right approach, but then there are more strategic areas, items that maybe there are fewer suppliers in the market, or the particular item is more strategic in nature as it relates to our business and our sort of longer term strategy. So there are some items that you have to take a more complex approach to, negotiating the best price or qualifying the best vendors, but it's really you're taking a strategic approach and really understanding, what's going on in the market for this particular good and service. So for example, the way we would source office supplies in an organization would be totally different from how we source DSL modems, for example, because DSL modems, that's a key revenue driver. That's something that we're taking into a consumer's home, right, to deliver service, day in and day out. So it's really taking a more strategic approach to purchasing. The definition of procurement, really is, first of all, identifying what that need is, down to the, specifications. What are do we need, what are the features that we need in this particular product, commodity, or this product? What kind of delivery do we need for this particular product? What's the volume that we're going to need, and what's the service level that we're going to need? So it's not as simple as just a transaction, but it's really, it's really stepping back and looking at a total value chain and how that particular commodity fits. Right.
So it's like a total kind of holistic logistics type of transaction that you're looking to make. So you're not just looking at price, but you're looking at features. You're looking at other variables as well.
Absolutely. We're looking at the total cost of ownership is really the best way to think about it. So,
gotcha.
Procurement role is very critical, and it's become increasingly important as competition increases.
Gotcha. So, you being behind the scenes, you're doing this for other companies, gives you kind of this view that other people don't have or can't see, for instance. So, tell us how that led to you wanting to, create a company focused on supplier diversity. First, explain what supplier diversity is, and then tell us, what events, what was going on in your life at the time or at the company you were at that led you to want to create a company that was focused on that.
Sure. So really, breaking down the definition of supplier diversity is, I guess the best way to describe it or define it is it's really a proactive, and I'll come back to that word, but it's a proactive process that encourages the use of minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, LGBT-owned, service-disabled veteran, historically underutilized businesses, as well as SBA-defined small businesses. And I throw in, those categories because diversity is defined pretty broadly these days. When a company says, we have a supplier diversity program, it doesn't just limit them to focusing on, one particular, ethnic group, but it's a number of groups. It's all about, really, at the end of the day, supplier diversity is really a small business movement because small businesses, they're the economic engine of this country. You really don't have to argue with anybody about that. But diverse suppliers, those categories that I just described, they represent such a significant portion of small businesses. Small businesses are 98, 99% of all businesses, the 30 million businesses that make up the economy, in the U.S. And so diverse suppliers historically have been underrepresented, but they represent such a large chunk of businesses. So that's why this movement is so important to so many organizations.
Excellent.
I guess, and so that was really the driver. So just kind of adding on to that. So as a consultant, having this great backstage pass, working with Fortune 500 companies, getting this exposure across a number of industries, you see it time and time again when we were hired to come in and do a strategic sourcing initiative. We were looking at the company's total purchases. We were looking at their total, their supplier base, and what came up time and time again was as we were looking at helping them drive costs out, a lot of small suppliers were subject to getting squeezed out of the supply chain, and a lot of those small suppliers oftentimes happen to be diverse suppliers. Or when we were building putting together RFPs and going out to the market, it wasn't as easy to find minority and women-owned businesses to include in the bid pool. So it wasn't easy going through just the typical channels, that is. And so over the years, because we were getting pressure from our clients, we were being asked to maintain the integrity of their supplier diversity programs. They had requirements related to government contracts. They had corporate customers that put these requirements down supply chain, putting mandates around, whether it be 15%, 10%, 20%, whatever the number is. These goals were in place, and companies were taking them seriously. So I saw it from that side, but then also when I got on the operating side at Cincinnati Bell, we had those same requirements placed on us. And so I got to experience it firsthand, with my team having goals set, from the top, from the board level. And these were driven by market. There were market factors driving these. These were contractual requirements that salespeople committed to. We had government-related contracts that were pushing these requirements. Not only did we have to, set goals at the category level and then roll those up to overall goals, but we actually had to track and report our results. So not only do we have to set goals, we have to show what our progress is towards these goals on a, monthly, quarterly, annual basis. So I faced the complexity. I was experiencing it firsthand. So that's when the light bulb started going off for me to create a ConnXus type platform, 10, 12 years ago. and I saw different solutions on the market that I was a customer of, and I wasn't satisfied with anything that I saw on the market. And oftentimes we had to piece things together. We were doing a lot of manual processes, and really that's when I started thinking that, man, there's got to be a better way to kind of create an end-to-end solution that made life easier for people like me and the people that work for me.
Excellent. And I want to, and thanks for that explanation. But what I want to do is I want to kind of highlight the context of how this idea transpired, because there's I see a lot of chatter on Twitter or on some social networks or in comments and things like that. But I think your journey to coming up with this idea is important because when it comes to entrepreneurs, a lot of people like to throw out this term or kind of like the statement of don't get a job, start a business, which and partly I agree with, right? I think that if you're of that mindset and you're an entrepreneur, you have an entrepreneur spirit, start you a business. But I think it sometimes comes off a little bit elitist because not everybody, is going to start off that way. Not everybody has that mindset going in, and sometimes the way it comes off, it sometimes sounds like it excludes people, or if you do have a job, then you're lesser than, right? So I like your whole entire story of you started out working for somebody, you saw a need from that job, you saw a need that a void that needed to be filled, and you went out, and that spawned the idea of you coming up with your business. And so I think that's very important because not all ideas come from just these entrepreneurs who seem like magicians because they can pull ideas out of the sky. Sometimes it's just a person who is working in that field or in that industry, and they come up with these ideas while they're working, because working at these places allows them to see where these voids are, and then that allows them to come up with the ideas to fill them. So I think that's very important.
Hey, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, and you bring up a great point that, everybody has a role to play, right? I mean, I saw opportunity. My career path led me in a direction. I mean, I thought I was going to be, as I started my career in public accounting, I thought I was going to kind of progress. I always knew I would want to go back and maybe get an MBA or a law degree, but I sort of viewed a path to becoming a CFO one day. I thought that might be the path that I would take. In fact, to be honest with you, as I went into my consulting career and ended up working in supply chain, I actually frowned at that, right? I was, admittedly, one of those MBA types, and you may call it an elitist attitude, but I was feeling like, why am I working on supply chain projects? I'm coming out of work, and I want to work on strategy projects, right? And I had a lot of colleagues who were the same way. But I ended up working on a sourcing project at FedEx. I spent a year of my career sourcing everything from office supplies to aircraft engines at FedEx when I was at A.T. Kearney. And I tell you, now I look back on that, and I really feel like that was the best experience I could ever gain. And if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be in the position I am now, doing what I absolutely love. So I think you have to follow your path. You have to follow your passion. And sometimes, you're going to end up on assignments that maybe no one else wants. But those paths can lead to unique opportunities, right? Those opportunities that uniquely qualify you maybe 5, 10, 15 years later to do something. So everybody's not going to, drop out of Harvard and start Facebook, right? I mean, that's just not the way life works. But I also look at the great team that I've assembled. Just give you a great example. My COO, Daryl Hammett, is, just has been just an absolute, probably the best find in the company, because he brings a bundle of skills that he has, accumulated over his career as an executive at Luxottica. He was probably the highest ranking African American at Luxottica Retail. They own a number of brands that you may recognize, like Oakley and Lens Crafters.
Right.
But those skills, because he was heads down achieving in his corporate role, it positioned him to be in a position to actually come work for a startup, right? To bring a skill set that I didn't have, right? It was something that,
right,
I didn't have, and that I desperately needed at the time he came on board. So everyone has a role to play, and I think that's the one thing about entrepreneurship and sort of following your passion. I think you have to just learn from everything, just embrace it and make the most of it. I've always felt like you get out of things what you put in them. So I took those opportunities. I decided, I'm just going to try to build skills. Whatever I'm doing, whatever assignments I'm given, I'm just going to learn everything I can, because hopefully it will prepare me for opportunities down the road. And lo and behold, this is the opportunity it prepared me for. It also prepared me for identifying where I am weak and where I need to build a team, hire to my weaknesses. And in doing that, it's really enabled me to do what I do best, building relationships with investors, partnerships with, key potential channel partners and things like that. So it's really enabled me to truly be a CEO and a visionary, to make sure we are, we're creating the right environment to allow our people to do their best work. So yeah, everybody's not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And everybody's not cut out to be an entrepreneur at the same time, and so everybody has a role to play. I mean, hey, I have great respect for, people like Ken Chenault, who, rose through the ranks, at American Express, and, is probably one of the, identified as one of the best CEOs, in the world. And I'm glad we have him there. So I'm glad he didn't become an entrepreneur. so we need people everywhere,
Right. Yeah, and not to belabor the point, but it always kind of ruffles my feathers a little bit when I see tweets or something like that, and it makes it sound like, if you're not an entrepreneur, then you're not one of the, you're not part of the N Club or something like that. And it's just like, I listen to a lot of tech podcasts, and a lot of these tech podcasts, they interview people who are entrepreneurs, but they're not, they actually come from companies or bigger companies, and they were actually able to use that to identify problems that they could help solve. And they spun off a company, or they, took their idea from that experience and started their own company. So I always like to, make a point of that and say, hey, it's not, it's not a sin to work for somebody. And that job, that experience might lead you to bigger and better ideas. So let's not knock it and make it seem like you're lesser than somebody who's an entrepreneur. Let's there's like you said, there's roles for everybody, and people have to play their roles. So I just like to make a note of that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Robert Smith, the new, the latest, the newcomer to the Forbes list, African American billionaire, first one that's not from entertainment, right? I mean, he worked for Goldman Sachs. I mean, he was an investment banker, worked in private equity. I mean, he got the experience he needed, and then he moved on. But I don't know if that was his plan from the start. I think you have to follow your path, and I think you have to follow your passion. I mean, if you're doing something, I could never see myself just doing, some analytical modeling and saying, all right, you know what, I'm just gonna scout for businesses I got to start a business, and to just base it on some analytical model that, yep, this is a big market, I'm going to go after it. I think you have to be passionate about what you do, because if you're not, you're just going to be miserable. I mean, what good is it? You're not, because it's hard enough. Being an entrepreneur is very, very hard, and if you're not waking up every morning, jumping out of bed and ready to get to it, having this real, fire in the belly for what you do, you're just going to be miserable, and nobody's going to win.
I agree. If you're just now tuning in to the Big Tech Talk podcast, we're speaking with Robinson CEO of ConnXus, and we're talking about his business, and we're getting down to the nitty gritty of the ConnXus platform. So with that, I want to ask you, how does your application actually help to solve the issue with supplier diversity?
So the issue, like my biggest pain point, and I share the same pain point with many others in the space, which a lot of them are becoming customers now. But large companies want to first understand. Well, first of all, they want to be able to find qualified, diverse suppliers, however they define them, whether it be minority, women, veteran, whatever those categories are. Companies also want to understand. They want to understand what their baseline is. So they want to understand, well, what are we currently spending? What are we currently doing with diverse suppliers? What do they look like? Who are they certified by? And then they also want to be able to push responsibility down to their major suppliers. So they want to be catalysts of growing supplier diversity. So they want to push responsibility to their what we call their primes, or their tier one suppliers. And so companies, our customers, use our platform to first understand where they are. So we have a product called ConnXus Scrub. So that's where we scrub all their vendor records. We have a universal API where we interact with, major ERP systems, SAP, Ariba, Oracle. So we're interacting with their accounts payable data, it's either pushed or pulled to us. We can verify the status of the diversity status of their entire supplier population. So that's one piece of it. So that gives them the baseline. We also have a tier 2 reporting platform that enables our customers to essentially invite their designated prime suppliers, whether it be 100, their top 100, 200, 300, 400, whatever the number is, invite them to report their diversity spend on our platform. And this gives them visibility into their tier 1 and tier 2 spend. So you add that together, and, my tier 1 spend, my spend directly with diverse suppliers is, $10 million. And then my tier 2 spend as reported by my primes, my designated primes, if that's $5 million, then my total diversity spend is $15 million, right? So not only do I have that spend, but now, because of our platform, I also have visibility into the supplier, those tier 2 suppliers. So I now understand, so maybe, over time I can develop a direct relationship with some of these suppliers. So the tier 2 reporting platform serves two purposes. It gives me credit for the spend that my suppliers are spending with diverse suppliers, but it also gives me visibility into up and coming suppliers, right?
Nice.
And then and then we also provide a database. So because we're doing Scrub, because we're aggregating suppliers, we're capturing all their certification information, we're capturing all this information that's relevant to our customers, our enterprise customers. This results in a rapid growing database, which is now at about 1.7 million diverse suppliers. So think about it think of it as Google for supplier diversity. I can go on our platform and I can search for, IT vendors. I can search for diverse transportation companies. I can search for diverse, promotional companies that provide promotional items, marketing agencies, over 400 categories. And I can search by geography. I can search by category. I can even search by who they're certified by. And so that gives our customers the ability to do outreach. It gives them the ability understand what their spend is, and we deliver it to them in a nice dashboard, because we also provide them with a supplier registration portal that's white labeled. So, for example, McDonald's is one of our customers, and so if you wanted to register to do business with McDonald's, you go to their supplier page, and we manage all that on the back end.
Very nice.
So really,
Very nice.
it's really an end-to-end solution that really solves the problem that I had when I was I was head of procurement of a large company, and looking as I look back, I'm like, man, I wish I had the ConnXus solution back in the day.
Excellent. So, a scenario. I'm a major company looking or I'm seeking diversity in my supply chain. Walk us through how that happens within your application.
So a great example is we had a customer who discovered that they knew they were going to be spending a lot of dollars over the next few years in information technology. And they weren't satisfied with the number of diverse IT vendors that they were doing business with. So they actually used our search engine, our database, to search for IT vendors. And so after doing a broad search, they came back with over 1,000. But after applying their specifications and their criteria, the field was narrowed to about 300 IT vendors. And this was across, as it relates to them, this was across about 13 or 14 different IT disciplines. And so they were really happy because they knew that they were going to be, again, spending millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars over the next few years. And so now they had, a access to a database and really a list that really was carved out of the database because they identified some of these suppliers. In fact, they actually even met with some of the top firms that they knew that they had some immediate opportunities for. But essentially, as they were going to be going out for bid, they said, hey, you know what, we're happy because now as we go out and put RFPs together, we have a really nice pool of suppliers to include in the process that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
Very nice. Very nice. So how do minority-led and women-led and even veteran-led, et cetera, how do they sign up for your platform? Like, how do they get into that pool of vendors?
You know what? It's very simple. Go to ConnXus.com, and the website is very user-friendly. In fact, we're really excited because we recently relaunched our site, and this was after taking feedback from both buyers and suppliers. They can actually, it takes about 15 minutes to create a profile, maybe even less than that, maybe 10 minutes to build a profile. If you're identified as you're creating the profile, if you're minority owned, you can actually even upload your certifications. The system will guide you through the process. You can actually select the relevant categories for your business. If you're an IT firm, you select that. You select this particular disciplines. And what's nice about it is once you develop that profile and upload, the relevant documents, any company that has a profile on our platform, and that's probably about 70 companies now, 70 enterprise customers, so 70 Fortune 1000 companies on the platform, and that number is growing every day. Any company that has identified that category as a need would get an alert that your company is registered. What's also nice about our platform is that our customers can actually post bid opportunities. So we actually have a very active opportunities section on our site. And, I was just looking at it the other day, and there are construction opportunities, there are IT opportunities, there are healthcare opportunities, there are financial services opportunities. we're at one point we were posting, maybe upwards of 200 opportunities a week coming through our buyers, and then we also have folks on staff who do nothing but post opportunities and do outreach, making sure that suppliers that are matching know that those opportunities exist.
Very nice. So is there like a criteria for vendors to be able to sign up, or is it just as easy as, I have, for instance, can a one-man IT shop, for instance, who specializes in, say, for instance, architecting cloud technology or something like that?
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
He can sign up as well. So there's no,
Yep.
You have to be at least 10-man shop or anything like that in order to sign up.
Nope. Some customers, some of our customers are pretty adamant about, they're only looking for companies that are certified by, a particular agency, whether it be NMSCC,
right,
WeBank, or whatever. But then we also have a lot of customers who say we simply want to find good suppliers, because we may be able to link those suppliers up with, one of our larger primes to be a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we find a supplier that has a unique talent, then we want to connect with them, because, if it's important for them to be certified for us to count the spend, then we'll help them get certified. In fact, we have someone on staff who can help with that process as well. So we can actually help guide you through that process. So we have companies that are registered that are, one person, two people, three people, consulting shops, that are, maybe they're very specialized, and because
mm-hmm.
the skill set is so unique, they're in a great position.
Very nice. I like that. I like that you, that your company included, helping to get people certified, because, that's a way to actually onboard people to your platform. It's not like, hey, we're going to just turn you away. It's like, hey, no, we're going to help you get certified so that you can be a part of this platform in order to get to business through us. So I think it's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, we're,
so
our motto is supplier diversity made. Our motto is supplier diversity made simple, and we want to remove, we want to remove the barriers. We want to make it easier, and so we'd rather you be in, because if there's a unique skill set, talent, let's help you develop that, and let's help position you to take advantage of that.
Excellent. So how does the platform make money?
So we don't. There's no cost for suppliers. So a supplier can actually create a profile on our site for free. And again, we want to make it as simple as possible. We generate all of our revenues generated from the enterprise customers. And it is a subscription model. So we're essentially a software as a service.
Right.
And we generate revenue from our 4 key products, which is our data scrub, our tier tracker, our registration portal, and our search engine. Those are our four key products.
Excellent. So, and you recently closed a round of funding. So congratulations about that. I think it was a few months ago when you did that. How will this round of funding allow your company to grow? Yeah,
we raised $2.5 million. We closed that round a couple months ago, and it opened up. What was nice about it is all of our early investors came back to the table, and then we also welcomed a new investor, Techstars Ventures, out of Boulder, Colorado, and we're excited because that up till that point, we had most of our growth was really organic. It was all referral based, but now having this funding enables us to expand our marketing, our sales, and then also we're augmenting our software engineering team. So it really allows us to really spread the ConnXus gospel, if you will, increase brand awareness, and really just continuing to raise the bar on our product.
Excellent. So can you shed a little bit of light? We're Blacks in Technology. Of course, we have a technology audience. So can you share a little bit of light on your technical platform? Like what are you using to power the platform? What hosting platform are you using? Why did you decide on these specific platforms? Can you give us a little bit of insight on that?
Absolutely. And this is another area where, a lot of people ask me, they say, man, so, how did you start it? And are you a coder? And, all this talk about, getting more minorities involved in coding and software engineering, which is great. Frankly, I think there also needs to be focus on, around just pure leadership and understanding how to identify talented people, right? And building a team.
Right.
Because I'm certainly not a technical person, but really when we built the beta product, I knew what I wanted. I didn't know how to code it, but I knew how to find the right people to build it so I could sell it. But I've been learning a lot from our bang up development team and our operations team. But our primary client-facing application is a single-page JavaScript, and we have an underlying API, and it's really Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP stack. So that's really kind of what the base of our platform. And again, we're a procurement platform, so it was important to have a universal API because when we first started, we were focused. We were only able to receive flat files of data, but now having a push-pull API enables us to provide flexibility to our customers. Depending on what their setup is, if they have firewalls and things like that. But so that's really that's really it. Again, we try to keep it simple. The API is an easy interface in the B2B, B2B client system. So.
Right. Can't go wrong with the LAMP stack, man. That's
Yep.
Been in use for quite some years, and it's been that way for a reason. So.
Yep.
Excellent.
And we're housed on AWS. I was just gonna say we're housed on AWS cloud hosting platform.
Okay. Nice. It's good to hear that minority-owned businesses, tech businesses, utilizing the cloud platforms out there. So it's always nice to hear. Excellent.
Yep.
So what do you think? You've been at this for quite some time now, and I'm pretty sure you have your ups and downs throughout this journey. So what do you think it takes to become a successful tech entrepreneur?
You got to have a ton of passion.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have 2 tons of patience, and you have to have an infinite amount of perseverance. It is extremely hard. I always like to say entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart because there's some dark times, right? The highs are really high and the lows are really low, and you have to make it through some tough times. I mean, I started the company 5 years ago, but we didn't start selling product until 2 years after that, right?
Oh wow.
We was giving it away free and getting feedback, and that was only one product, right? It was concept. Nothing ever happens as fast as you think it will. You always gonna need more money than you think you do. So you really have to have a passion for the problem you're solving. I think you have to love what you're doing. That's what I was saying before. I mean, this is not something you can just say, I don't want to work. I don't want to work for anybody anymore. I'm gonna start my own business because at the end of the day, you're always gonna be working for somebody anyway, whether it be your board or investors or your customers. So you are working for somebody. So that's why I don't really buy the whole elitist, entrepreneur versus non-entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, then it doesn't matter. You can be I'd rather be a happy, in my corporate job than be a miserable entrepreneur.
Hey, don't let Dame Dash hear
I hear you. Well, to each his own.
Right. Right. So there's a lot of talk around diversity, especially in tech nowadays, and you're kind of helping to solve diversity issues within your platform. But why do you think diversity is important? And secondly, if you had to name one way to help move the needle forward, what would that one way be, or what would it be?
Well, speaking from my own, professional educational experience, it's been demonstrated time and time again that more diverse teams deliver more value and truly have an unfair advantage. My role as head of purchasing, for a Fortune 1000 company, I witnessed countless situations where, we were able to generate, higher savings and deliver more value, in spend areas with higher numbers of suppliers competing for our business. So, at the end of the day, supplier diversity is really about good business because, I was looking at it as a pure, kind of a pure capitalist, as an executive in the company charged with, with a budget and responsibility for driving costs out of the supply chain. Supplier diversity was great, but I wasn't going to do it at the expense of spending more money and overshooting my budget. So, when you introduce new suppliers to the process and help develop new suppliers, you're basically increasing competition for that particular category and for that industry. So you're doing the market some good by doing it. So it's really just good business. It's just smart. It's just smart business. So I think,
I like that.
In tech, diversity in tech, at the end of the day, it shouldn't only be about creating, situations and setting the stage for one of the easier ways to do it. And I actually wrote a blog about it about a month ago, talking about how supplier diversity could be a quick way to make sea change, because at the end of the day, if you think about it, I was hired by Cincinnati Bell, and I happened to be a vendor, and working with, I was a supplier to the company, and I was a talent that was identified in a vendor situation. So it's almost like they got to try me before they brought me on board. Well, diversity in tech could be much the same way. Just imagine, Facebook or eBay or Google, some of these organizations, they hire a lot of folks, but just imagine if they and they may be doing this, I don't know, I'm just using it as an example, if they were to put some focus around supplier diversity and maybe leveraging, minority IT firms, for example, maybe what comes out of that is not only are they helping to support an organization that is already likely hiring diverse resources, but it could also help them identify talent that they may want to hire, right? It may be a situation like, hey, another Rod Robinson at Cincinnati Bell, where they liked the work I did, so they said, hey, you know what, we want you to come in and run this, or we want you to come and do this. So, so I think that supplier diversity could be, it could be a great. I think companies need, a 3-pillar strategy, right? I think the customer diversity is already there. Minorities definitely consume technology. So it's the customer diversity in the customer base, diversity in the employee base, and diversity in the supplier base. It's really a 3-legged stool. It's always the way I've looked at it.
Excellent. Thanks for that explanation. I think it's really, really powerful. Some of the points that you made there, and in saying that diversity overall is just good business. It allows for that competition that you might not have had you not sought out that diverse supply chain. So I think, and I think the comparing that, and modeling, what you're doing in supplier diversity and how that can be used in technology as well. I think that's I think that's very good. As a matter of fact, I would love for you to send me that blog post. I would like to,
Sure.
take a look at it and read it and share it with our audience. So
Sure, love to.
So how many employees do you have now at ConnXus, and secondly, are you hiring?
We actually we have 15 employees now, and then yes, we are hiring. We're currently, again, we're going to be augmenting our engineering team. We're going to be hiring some. I think we're going to probably have one or two jobs we're looking to fill in operations, and then we're also hiring for a controller. And
nice.
and we're at 15 now, and I could easily see us getting to by the end of our fiscal year next year. I could see us probably almost double that.
Very nice, very nice. So, last but not least, before we get out of here, what's next for ConnXus, and then what's next for you? Do you have any plans in the future to maybe start another business?
Well, what's next for ConnXus is hyper growth. We're really excited about our growth in the pipeline and some customer relationships that we've developed that haven't been announced yet, but so we're really excited about that. As the weeks roll on, we'll be bringing new customers on board. We'll be rolling out a new product early next year, and then we'll be making several enhancements and adding features to our platform. And that's just going to be, our development never ends, right? I mean, we're continuously gaining feedback from our customers and continuing to just raise the bar on our solution. And but what's next for me? I mean, it's interesting. I like to solve problems right now. I'm just focused on just making the ConnXus experience as just exceeding customer expectations and making supplier diversity simple. If we haven't solved all the world's problems, by the end of the day, I'll think about that when we get there. But right now, I'm all focused on growing ConnXus as big as it can be.
Excellent. And much success in the future. And congrats on what you're doing. And like I said, much success. We definitely are looking forward to seeing how ConnXus grows in the future. And if you need anything from Blackson Technology, we're definitely there to help you out. So don't hesitate to call on us. We're always trying to help spotlight people of color in technology and spotlight what they're doing. So we're there for you.
Well, hey, I appreciate that, and I'm sure we'll stay connected and let's figure out what we can do together. Great talking to you.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Rod. Thanks for taking the time out to join us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Absolutely.
All right.
Take care.
And that is it for this episode of the Blackson Technology Bit Tech Talk podcast. I want to thanks all our listeners who are out there listening, and people on Twitter retweeting our tweets. Definitely thank you for that. If you like what you heard tonight, you want to let us know. If you have any suggestions or comments, email them to us at contactus@blacksontechnology.net. Join us in a few weeks, December 3rd, for another exciting episode of Blackson Technology Podcast. We're going to have Jennifer Daniels, founder of ColorStock. ColorStock is a stock photo destination filling the growing need for authentic depictions of people of color. The company offers images of Blacks, Asians, Latinos, and other ethnically diverse people at work and at play, reflecting their nuanced lives in realistic ways. We're going to talk to her on the next Big Tech Talk podcast. Until then, remember, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Thanks a lot.
Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.